This is going to be a very different video that I do, as if the background isn't telling you enough. Why? Because I don't get to decide what's right or wrong. You do. You as a viewer will come to your own conclusion if this is right or wrong. Well, I think that says to most of my videos anyway. I'm only gonna present the nature of the topic at hand and what it is as objectively as possible without giving any thoughts so that you can decide whether or not the thing that I describe here can be considered right or wrong. Why? Because morality is subjective and nobody gets to decide what's right or wrong. Especially you, Mr. Blackthorn. So let's talk about sexual objectification. Sexual objectification is the act of treating a person as an instrument of sexual pleasure. Objectification more broadly means treating a person as a commodity or an object without regard to their personality or dignity. Objectification is most commonly examined at the level of society, but can also refer to the behavior of individuals. So now that we know about what sexual objectification is, let's check on a few examples of what we can properly define as sexual objectification. Let's take a look at this picture. This is the picture of the character Samus Aran from Metroid. She is dressed very beautifully in this manner and her body is shaped to be enticing and beautiful for the sake of sexual pleasure of the men who see this, and also the women. This is objectification. And then we have this picture. As you can see, these are the fan arts of Beast Boy and Raven that I found on DeviantArt by Shock777. These are the pictures of a couple who are on their mating process, and seeing couples in their mating process can be very sexually enticing to a lot of viewers. Amazing art, by the way, great work. Okay, we're talking about innocuous examples. Let's talk about a more explicit example. Bayonetta. She's the main character of 2 video games and her poses are outright sexual in nature. So you get the idea. Now, let's get back to the definition, more specifically on the part without regard to their personality or dignity, which essentially means that sexual objectification reduces someone to be an object instead of the subject. When you try to reduce someone into their function instead of who they are, you automatically reduce their autonomy into doing whatever those people holding those autonomies wanted them to do. In the context of sexual pleasure, it basically means that character A reduced character B into doing whatever sexually pleasing activities for the sake of character C, D, and E. With that in mind, let's talk about autonomy. Autonomy is the capacity of a rational individual to make an informed, uncoerced decision. Now, can you remove someone's autonomy from doing anything? Well, not permanently, because that would be considered brainwashing. Temporarily, yeah, you can. Now, is it good to temporarily remove someone's autonomy or free will? To put it in perspective, I'm going to present you a scenario and I'll let you decide if it's good or not. One is when a crazy psychopathic serial killer is on the loose trying to kill everybody, and one is when humans are being watched and monitored in a big huge head. Yes, the nature of human autonomy have 2 equally destructive extremes, just like the 7 deadly sins, and it's our job as an individual to control it. The beauty of being a human is that you have to control whatever things that you want to do in life, and that includes objectifying yourself. There are 2 forms of sexual objectification, willing and unwilling. Usually when we go into the porn industry, or let's try something a lot tamer, photo model industry, we're going to be dealing with beautiful men and women who become models on a particular brand. They have signed a contract with the manager to use their beautiful body and face as a selling point for a particular product. This is not limited to real-life models. Masayoshi Hasama, for example, uses attractive face to be a supermodel and get rich. The female equivalent would be Ami Kawashima, who used her beauty as well to become a model. Another boys example, Oran High School Host Club. The entire host club is practically boys trying to impress girls with their looks and charms. Another girls example, the Maid Cafe from Maid Sama, and any other animes that have it. These peoples have a signed contract with their manager to use their sexually enticing traits and objectify themselves for the pleasure of others, or at least a willing consent to present themselves as something that is sexually pleasurable. How about an unwilling example? Well, in some ways, the previous examples can be classified as unwilling, or at least unwilling to do it only for the sake of sexual pleasure. Both Hazama and Ami are doing it for the money. Haruhi from Oran only does it because she wants to pay the broken vase, and Misaki from Maid Cafe does it because she has a poor family and wants to pay the rent. Yes, they are in some ways don't want to objectify themselves to be a pleasure for others, but they're not trying to objectify themselves for no reason whatsoever. There is still an underlying goal beyond all of that. They have a contract, they need to pay rent, they owe someone. The question is if this is a good thing or not. Well, I'll leave it up to you. To a lot of feminists, this is what they would call problematic in fictional realms, because in fictional realms, the characters that are written in it, well, don't have autonomy. The autonomy of the character simply lies on the writers who created said character, which also means that the writers can design the character to be whatever they wanted. Now, is this a bad thing or a good thing? Let's take a random fictional character that is commonly objectified. The one that I can think of at the top of my head is Starfire from Teen Titans, the Tamaranian goddess who is the apex of comic book beauty. Feminists will instantly complain of how overly sexualized she is and how she's designed to be sexually pleasing for the boys. In some ways, they are correct. She is designed to be sexually pleasing for the boys, but there is something missing, and I want you to put this in a cleaner perspective just so that you can hear me out. Go pick up a random book or an issue of the Teen Titans comics where Starfire dresses up like this. You might notice that there will be absolutely no point in that particular comic that you pick in which Starfire complains about her explicit clothing. The thing is, she should be complaining because that's what she's wearing out on the battlefield. That's what she uses throughout the battle, which is pretty much like 80% of the time. She puts on an outfit like that while kicking ass. Now, what does that say to you? This means that Starfire herself is willing to put an outfit like that on the battlefield. This is basically me trying to think as if Starfire has an autonomy. I'm trying to make her human, as how good writers do. If you apply this perspective to all characters that are deemed sexually objectifying, you will be shocked to hear that all of these characters are willing to dress up like that. Because if they're not, they wouldn't be, and all the power is in their hands to not dress up like that, but instead they did. Oh, but it's the writer's fault that the characters are designed like that. You're well aware that they also have the power to make the characters want to dress up like that? Hey, just because she dresses like that doesn't mean she wants it. True, but how do you know that? I mean, if she's willing to dress up like that, or if the writers tell her to dress up like that, let them be. I mean, if you look at all of these characters, all the pictures that I've shown previously, none of these characters show any sorts of pain or regret on using their clothes. They're pretty happy. They're very upbeat. They're very cheerful. So I really don't get that complaint. I don't know about you, but I don't go out into a photo shoot demanding the manager to not have the models wear makeup. I don't go into the middle of a porn shooting asking the actors to dress up. And since we're talking about fictional characters, people need to remember that they are objects. There are objects for other objects like narrative or a story to progress. Claiming objectification to an object is like claiming a water bottle is holding water. Well, duh, that's what they are. Objectification is starting to become people's insulting other peoples for doing their job, as if these feminists have nothing better to do than to complain about people's having jobs. Oh. Actually, let's go back to the Wikipedia definition on the second paragraph. The concept of sexual objectification, and in particular the objectification of women, is an important idea in feminist theory and psychological theories derived from feminism. Many feminists regard sexual objectification as deplorable and as playing an important role in gender inequality. However, some social commentators argue that some modern women objectify themselves as an expression of their empowerment. First of all, that statement is contradictory to your last statement, so great job on that, Wikipedia. Second of all, since no citations are given here on how objectification plays an important role in gender inequality, this is a very wild assertion that has no basis. Third, I'm gonna talk about gender or race inequality and its impact on the media for a later time, but as of now, the best thing that I can say is that it's a goal that leads to nowhere. Pushing for diversity, Marvel? Good for you. I hope those comic sales rack up into 11. That's all for the video today. If you like this, you can go ahead and click the like button and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.